I'm pretty out here, so while I'm driving back into the center of town where all the restaurants are, I'm gonna make a short video. My people demand me. I'm just kidding. So I saw Michelle Barrera at Dairy Queen, and she said I was an ugly bitch that's always talking shit. I don't know what she's talking about. We've never spoken. All I said was she experienced some negative feedback and she was very hurt because she tattooed her face, like a big spider on the side of her face or something. I don't remember. And I said to her, now you can educate people. That doesn't mean that she is right or wrong. It means that people can talk to her about her experiences. Now, I don't know what she heard, but she considers that talking shit, evidently. Evidently, she's very sensitive about it. She's getting a lot of negative feedback. I was and am nothing but a fan. So let's talk about the prostitution comment that I made. I did not just jump straight to, well, if somebody is having sex with Clay, she must be a prostitute. And this is how I arrived at that conclusion. One night I called Clay up and I told him, hey, I'm hungry. Let's meet at Denny's. Buy me some food. Money's a little tight. Do you mind? He's like, yeah, let's do it. So we met there. And while we were there, I was on my phone. And then I started taking candid pictures of him. And I noticed him looking at a woman in another booth. I turned my head and it was the Owen Court neighbor. Now, there were two couples, the husband and the wife, and then another woman and another man that were not on the lease. They were not supposed to be there, and I do believe they moved in for the sole purpose of waiting to see when we left so they could go into my apartment. So I took a few photographs of him and it didn't click until I looked at the pictures. He was looking at her like he couldn't believe that she was looking at him. You know what I'm talking about, when there's somebody that you just kind of feel like they're out of your league and they're checking you out and you're just like, wow, so when we left, I told him, I said, that girl, I said, she was just flirting with you to piss me off. I said, she doesn't really like you. And he was extremely offended. He got very angry. Okay. It's not a coincidence that I meet up with Clay at a restaurant, and the woman that lived next door, the wife or the sister or the cousin or the friend, whatever the relationship to the two couples was or is, she just happens to show up and she sneaks past me without me seeing her. And she sits in a table by herself and she starts flirting with Clay. Okay, informants. Let's throw that word out there. Now, if somebody wanted to get to Clay, what are they going to use? A woman. Now, I'm not saying that it's her, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Any measure to gain access so they could, continue whatever it is they believe that they're doing. It would be difficult to pull off. Men do not turn women down. So for that scrunchie to disappear from my car, if it did, and then for it to appear under the bed where I would make the bed every day. I would clean that house. I would have seen the scrunchie right there where it was. It was placed there. And unless it was Clay, you know, and I think it's very evident that he had sex with somebody in the bed. You can't really fake stains like that. Like, and that, folks, is the rest of the story. So I'm not saying, you know, prostitute just off the top of my head. If somebody is having sex with Clay because somebody is forcing them to or asking them to, or maybe it's an actual prostitute and they're like, hey, act like you're with this guy, and then when you're in his apartment, do this, do that. Not very difficult to do.